close your eyes. Think of a memory from your childhood. A happy one. A vivid one. Do you have it? The texture of your blanket, the smell of your grandmother's kitchen, the song playing in the car. Details that paint your past. What if I told you that memory might not be yours? That your mind, in an act of pure creation, could have built it brick by brick without you ever knowing? Today, you will discover the uncomfortable and fascinating truth that lives in your head. That your memory is not a file, it's a storyteller. And sometimes, that storyteller makes things up. Picture this. California, 1969. A 9-year-old girl, Susan Nasson, is murdered. A terrible, unsolved case. 20 years later, her childhood best friend Eileen has a devastating revelation. In therapy, she suddenly recovers the repressed memory of the murder. And in that memory, the killer is her own father, George Franklin. The detail is chilling, vivid, emotional. George is convicted and spends years in prison until science intervenes. The evidence didn't add up, and the only proof was that recovered memory. He was acquitted. Was Eileen a liar? Not necessarily. It is very likely that she, in her desperation to make sense of the trauma, and perhaps influenced by the therapeutic process, constructed a false memory so real, so painful, that she herself believed it with all her soul. This is not an isolated case. It is the tip of the iceberg of a phenomenon that touches us all. False memories. And we are not talking about lying. We are talking about believing. Believing with absolute firmness in something that never happened. Our mind does not record reality like a video camera. It weaves it. Every time we remember, we are not retrieving an original, intact file. We are rewriting history. We activate a neural network, and in that process, details from the present, external suggestions, our own emotions and beliefs mix with traces of the past. The result is a new story, slightly or completely distorted, which we store as if it were the original. It's like the game of telephone, but played in the hallways of your own brain. And this happens to us daily. Have you ever argued with someone about an event you both lived through, each swearing you have the correct version? There it is. Your brain made a decision about which details were important and which it could discard or modify to make the story more coherent with your worldview. Memory, at its core, is a servant of coherence, not truth. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus, a pioneer in this field, has demonstrated this in ways that give you goosebumps. In one of her most famous experiments, participants were presented with memories from their childhood, mixing real facts provided by relatives with a completely invented event, getting lost in a shopping mall crying and being rescued by a kind elderly woman. The result? A significant number of participants not only accepted the false memory as possible, but began to remember it. They added their own sensory details, the color of the old woman's coat, the music playing in the stores, the anguish in their chest. Their minds had taken a seed of suggestion and built a complete emotional memory around it. This leads us to a terrifying question. Are we the owners of our own history? Or are we, in part, characters in a novel that our brain writes on the fly? The process is more powerful when emotions are at play. A traumatic event, or one we strongly desire, can create the perfect breeding ground for a false memory. Our psyche has a deep need to make sense of chaos, to fill in gaps, to create narratives that explain who we are. If there is a hole in our story, the brain has no qualms about filling it with a convincing piece of fiction. And the more we remember it, the more solid and real that fiction becomes. The practice of recovering repressed memories in certain therapies has, in fact, been an involuntary factory of traumatic false memories with devastating consequences for entire families, as we saw with George Franklin. But this is not just about trauma or lab experiments. It's about your life. Are you absolutely sure of how you met your best friend? Of your child's first word? Of what you exactly said in that crucial argument? Most likely, your memory of those events has been edited, smoothed over, enhanced, or contaminated by the photos you saw later, by the versions others told you, by what you felt at the time. There is a deeply controversial element here, a red line where psychology and the law clash again and again. If false memories are so convincing and easy to implant, can we trust the testimony of eyewitnesses, a fundamental pillar of justice? Science says that, as it stands, we cannot. A confident witness is not an accurate witness. Memory can be contaminated by a leading question from a police officer, by seeing a photo in a biased lineup, by the simple passage of time. Countless people have been convicted by erroneous memory testimony before DNA proved their innocence. This forces an uncomfortable reflection. Our justice system is built, in part, on a fragile and fallible mental mechanism. Should testimony based solely on human memory carry so much weight? And this extends to our most personal reality. In the digital age, our false memories are more exposed than ever. You live an event, then you see the perfect videos and photos of others on social media. You read their comments, and without realizing it, your personal memory adjusts to the collective narrative. Your mind integrates fragments from others into your own experience, creating a shared memory, and a potentially false one. We become unwilling accomplices in the editing of our own biography. So, what are we? A collection of unstable memories? Not exactly. This vulnerability is not a design flaw. It is the essence of an incredibly complex adaptive system. Our memory did not evolve to be a perfect historian. It evolved to be a tool for survival. It needs to be flexible, capable of integrating new information, of re-evaluating the past in light of the present to make better future decisions. The problem is not that memory is imperfect. It is that we trust it blindly. In the end, the journey to understand false memories is not a journey to distrust everything we remember. It is a journey towards mental humility. It is learning to hold our stories with affection, but also with lightness. Knowing that our personal truth is a blend of fact and fiction, woven by the most persuasive storyteller that exists, our own brain. Next time you remember something intensely, pause. Ask yourself, am I remembering this, or am I reconstructing it? That moment of doubt is not a betrayal of your past. It is the most honest act you can do with your memory. It is the first step to knowing yourself, beyond the myth. If this journey into the folds of your mind made you doubt, question, or see your own life in a new light, then it has served its purpose. Curiosity is the antidote to illusion. Leave us in the comments. Is there a memory in your life that you now doubt? Have you ever discovered that something you vividly remembered never happened? Your story is part of this collective investigation. If you want to continue exploring the mysteries of the psyche, subscribe. There are many more secrets of psychology to discover together.